Okay, story time, children. This story is called the goth sweater the and the homophobe. So anyway, so today I decided to head out to the store to go pick up some vegan marshmallows to make some nice crispy treats. I made some marijuana infused coconut oil earlier, so I wanted to make some Rice Krispie treats, make some vegan ones with that. So anyway, so I head out and yeah, thanks to actually a little bit of that infused coconut oil, my back felt really good today. So I decided to go ahead and instead of taking my wheelchair like I almost always do, I just decided to go ahead and just walk with my cane. My cane. Yeah, so unfortunately I had some like bus mishaps where like one of the buses just like completely just passed me up. I guess it's like wasn't the best lit bus stop, and of course I'm wearing all black and it's kind of dark. Anyway, so that led to me catching a different bus to go a different way. So anyway, so at one point I find myself, I go and stop at this one bus stop and I go to sit down on the far end of the bench, and there were a couple of guys there with groceries. And I notice when I sit down, one of the guys like moves his groceries. Like I'm thinking, okay, is he just trying to be polite, make room for me? Because it seemed a little weird because the spot where I was sitting, like nobody had to move their stuff for me to sit down, so I thought it was weird. Well, that guy, the guy who moved his groceries, this guy, we'll call him Mr. Angry. So Mr. Angry ended up like grabbing his stuff and leaving, and I was like, okay, whatever. Seemed a little weird to me, but whatever. So I get on my bus and to go about on my merry way. When I'm on the bus, I realize that I don't have my sweater. That I dropped it. It's like, oh shit. And the sweater is one of my best, most awesome thrift shop finds ever. It's this, it's a Forever 21 sweater. It's black with a big white cross on it, like just amazing goth sweater. So I'm on the bus and I'm like thinking, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Do I want to go back and try and see if it's still there, or do I just want to say the hell with it? I don't feel like going back. And so I decided that, you know what, I'll go back. So I end up at one point getting off that bus and then catching another bus to take me back to where I was. So I do that, and then I get off at the bus stop, and then as I'm walking towards the bus stop, the bus stop where I had lost the sweater, what should I see? I see a little black thing with white on the ground, and so I found it. And check this out. I mean, like, look at that. I mean, it's just a black sweater with a big old white cross on it. I mean, how goth is this? And I'm actually thinking of maybe distressing it because that would look awesome. Anyway, so I get my sweater, and this time I'm not going to lose this fucker. So I tie it to the shoulder strap on my purse, and, I double knot the fucker. And so I go, and as I'm walking up towards the bus stop, there I see those two guys again, Mr. Angry and Friend. And so I thought, okay, that's interesting. And because they hadn't gotten on the bus, like I mentioned, Mr. Angry had left, and then the Friend was still there, and the Friend didn't get on the bus. I was like, okay. Anyway, so I'm sitting there in my spot, and again, Mr. Angry moves his groceries. I was sitting in the same spot, and so that seemed weird, and he's saying something to his friend, and like something about something being gross, and I'm listening, I've got these on, and I'm listening to the goth station on Pandora, so I'm kind of not entirely paying attention to these guys, so I don't catch like every single word of what they say. But I hear something about gross, and I'm thinking, oh, is there something gross on the bench? I was kind of confused. And then, dude's like sounding angry and he's talking about like wanting to slit somebody's throat. And I'm like, oh shit, And I'm just thinking, oh, this guy's angry at somebody. And then eventually I realize he's talking about me. And he even says at one point, like, he says something like, these dykes, I don't want them in my town. Look at those man hands. And like I even made some comment about how I was probably out there molesting little boys or some shit. And then, yeah, of course, more references to throat slitting. And at one point he's like even like saying, I'll snap its neck, and like just really fucked up and horrible stuff. Like, I mean, I don't remember all exactly what he said, but it was like this, just a whole bunch of like violence and just like kind of fucked up homophobic shit. And I'm not even sure how this guy's reading me, because like, okay, the fact that he said dyke, it's like, okay, is he reading me as a lesbian and he's just a homophobe? But then there's like the references to the man hands and calling me it. So is he reading me as a tranny? Like, I don't know. And this happened, earlier. So I was, wearing what I'm wearing right now and makeup the same, with the black lipstick. So yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I end up like getting up and I take some steps back because like I'm not sure what this guy's trip is, and is he gonna do something, right? And so I take some steps back, and I didn't leave because the bus was about to get there. It was like another 7 minutes. So I was like, you know what? I'll just take a step back and just kind of watch the guy and see what he's doing. And I had my cane with me. This is, and one of the reasons I use a cane, I carry a cane besides disability issues, is self-defense. This is a cane. The shaft is made out of aluminum, and then it's got this really cool like skull top, or this skull knob, which is surprisingly heavy. Like, you could do some damage if you hit somebody with this. So anyway, yeah. So I I've got my bag like with the shoulder strap on, so that way it's not going to go anywhere. And I'm standing there, and I've just got my cane down on the ground with my hand on it like this. I'm just standing there watching this guy, and he keeps saying all this really fucked up shit, and I'm like, kind of like, and I'm freaking, and I'm afraid, but interestingly enough, I'm not like flipping out. I'm not like super freaking out or having an autistic meltdown or anything. And I kind of suspect maybe that tincture that I made, the infused coconut oil I made, did that. I don't know, because I was surprisingly calm. I mean, I was in fear, but still surprisingly calm. And, and I was prepared to defend myself if I needed to. So I was like watching the guy, and of course I had my cane, like right in hand. So if I really needed to, so I could have easily just, deployed it. And so the guys decided to leave. And so I don't know whose decision it was, if it was the friend or if it was Mr. Angry, but they decide to leave. And so they're walking towards me, right, to leave. And so they walk, they have their groceries, and they walk past me, and then they fucking go on their merry way. And as they're walking off, you can hear Mr. Angry saying to the friend something like, I would have snapped its neck, and like kind of implying that if they had hung around, he wouldn't have been able to control himself. And it's just, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I did not a fucking thing. Like, all I did was sit down to catch the bus. And I'm just a goth tranny, bisexual, whatever, like just sitting down to catch the bus, not fucking with anybody. And this guy, man, he was just, and it's like the fact that like he, like the fact that he left when the first time I was at that bus stop, and he was so disgusted by me that he didn't even want to be on the same fucking bus. And then of course, oh yeah, and then of course one of the reasons he was all pissed off is because I had come back. Because I came back to find my sweater, and so he was pissed off because he wasn't able. He was pissed off because he had to wait for the next bus, and then here I am again, and now what is he gonna do? Of course, that's all his own doing. Because the reason he had to wait for the second bus is because his fucking bigoted ass didn't want to ride the bus with somebody like me. So yeah. Now, and then after those guys left, my bus came and I got on the bus and I was kind of shaken up, but I decided, you know what, I should just go to the store and go get the stuff I was gonna get, So, and just try to distract myself, right? Do a little shopping. So I did. So I got the stuff that I needed. And I got some more of the Pacifica Ultra CC cream, which I fucking love. And anyway, so yeah, so I did all of that. And I have not contacted the police, and I am not going to. And the reason I'm not going to bother with the police is because I don't have any evidence, and I can't really give much of a description. Like, it was dark, so it's like the description would be like, yeah, it was a white guy. He was maybe a little fatter than me, maybe a little taller than me. I'm not sure. It's like, I mean, the one thing, the only like piece of like description I could give them is I noticed the guy he smoked Bugle or rolling tobacco. And, that's one of those little details that an autistic person may notice. And also, I used to smoke Bugle or rolling tobacco, so that's one of the reasons it caught my eye, besides being autistic. So, since I can't give much of a description, it's like, what's the point? But that experience taught me something that I have. So let me grab it here. I have this little Polaroid Cube Cam Plus. These are really, really cool. These these are little like action cams, and they have a surprisingly good, they're really good resolution. They work surprisingly well in low light conditions, and the microphone on this is surprisingly good. And I have a clip mount for this that I could just clip it to my purse. And so if something were to go down, like, I got evidence right here, and all I need to do is, just hold this on top, and then it lights up green, and then I just do a double tap, and then it turns on and starts recording. And then it also has an app for your phone to connect to it, so you can see where the camera's pointing and control the camera, and you can also like download the video straight from here onto your phone. So it would be easy enough after an incident, I could download the video onto my phone, and then straight from my phone upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video, and then I can just email the police and send them a link to the video and say, here you go. Here's my evidence. If you need to contact me, here's my contact info. But, so yeah, I'm going to have to start getting in the habit of carrying this because honestly, like, I'm a huge supporter of free speech, and people can believe whatever the fuck they like. But what that guy was doing was not free speech. Okay? Like, when you're talking about like slitting a person's throat, and breaking my neck and shit, like that does not qualify as free speech. That's a fucking threat. And that's the kind of thing where, like, that's the kind of thing that that deserves, getting his ass, arrested for. Like, if the guy had simply been, a homophobe and was just going on about, oh, these queers, like, if he had just been spouting homophobic shit about how he doesn't like gay people or whatever, okay, then I would have been like, okay, cool, I don't agree with you, you're an idiot, but whatever. But the fact that he was talking about slitting my throat and breaking my neck, like, yeah. So yes, that is my very scary story. But thankfully, I was able to get my sweater back, and I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm at home. I'm just gonna have a little more of that infused coconut oil, I think, just to calm my ass down. And yeah, and that is it for this video. And like I always this incident is why I always encourage people to be armed. Like, always carry something, whatever is legal for you to carry. I like canes because they're legal everywhere. So yeah, now that is it, and I will see you all later.